Hi, I'm Caroline Bateman. I founded Achieve Now and created my YouTube channel because I want to pass on what helps dyslexics and other students that learn differently achieve academically. So at this time of year, I'm normally really busy teaching students how to learn, how to understand, memorize and recall information, particularly in exam conditions. But now, GCSEs, A-level and AS exams have all been cancelled in England, so this is not the best use of my time. Now my goal is to help students improve their teacher assessed grades. And as an aside, I just want to say I think this could be great news because most of the students I work with are really bright and they do well in coursework, but they don't perform at their best under the time constraints and exam pressure that comes with formal exams. So I really want to help students improve their teacher assessed grades. And to this end, ever since the announcement, I've really been trying to create resources that will help. And I've gone through my existing resources and realized there is a gap, because I do not have much on Google Classroom and Google Docs, and that's because I don't use Google Classroom myself and I don't have a Chromebook. But I've had lots of phone calls this week from parents who are struggling, who like me are using Google Docs on Microsoft machines or Apple machines, and they are not finding it accessible. So I'm creating this video in a huge way to fill the gap that is on my channel to help Google Classroom be more accessible and dyslexia friendly. I'm going to show you a fantastic Chrome extension called read&write. I've used it for many years, but I wouldn't call myself a power user. But I'm going to show you the functionality that I think can really help improve grades. And then I'm going to show you how you install it on your machine and even how you can get the functionality for free. So keep watching to the end to find out how you can get it for free. I really hope you found this video helpful. If you do, please give it a like and share it with anyone else who could benefit, because so many people need this information right now. I'd also advise you to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button, and then you'll be informed when I create new videos. So now I'm going to show you the functionality. The goal of this video is to help improve teacher assessed grades, and I'm going to show you how to do it in these three different areas. And I've talked about a gap in my current video offering, and that's because schools are using Google Classroom, and Google Classroom is a fantastic platform. It is free and lots of schools are using it. And what's happening is schools are sending out information for children to learn, and they send out stuff very often that they need to read. And they are doing these in a Google Docs format because that's the easiest thing to do if you're using Google Classroom. We're then expecting students to read what's sent to them, and then they need to write, to hand some stuff in, to submit it to the teachers to be marked, and those marks are now critical. What I've found is when using Google Classroom, if you have a Chromebook, it's very easy to have work read aloud. But if you're not, it's not so straightforward. Having work read aloud is really important, and when they write their own work, if they listen to it back, if they have their own work read aloud to them, it helps them get much higher grades. So this is really important functionality. I want to help you know how to use read&write to help all these different type of learners, and I won't bother to read them all out, but I will say that the functionality I'm going to show you will help non-typists, but I'm a huge believer in that every student would benefit from typing their work. And if we are doing remote learning, then it makes even more sense. Handwritten work cannot access the functionality and the learning tools I'm going to show you. But these are all the students that I'm hoping to help with this video. And this is all the functionality I'm planning on showing. Each one of the icons on this toolbar, and this is the toolbar that appears once you install read&write, and there are far more icons or areas of functionality than I'm listing here, but these are the main ones that I think will really help. And once I've shown you them, I'm going to show you how to get a 30-day free trial and where to get better training, and then where to access this functionality for free. And because I'm going to show you a lot more than just the read aloud functionality, this is going to be a long video. To help you get to the most pertinent information, I will put the contents below. But rather than just jumping straight to what you think you need, I do think there's value in watching the whole video, because you might find there's learning tools that you've never conceived, you've never heard of, but they will really help. Change the settings so you can watch it really quickly and just stop when the information is pertinent to you. I'm now in Google Docs and I'm reading a chemistry revision booklet. And this is something that the teacher sent home for my son to read. My son's very good at chemistry, but he's not very good at reading, so I had to read it to him, which is very hard when you have multiple children and other things you need to be doing. But what I'm able to do, because I have the read&write extension installed, is I can have it read aloud. So how do I access the read&write extension? Well, here within my Chrome extension toolbar, I have this little jigsaw piece, and if I click that, it brings up this toolbar. And what I can do is I can scroll to any part of the document that I'm struggling to read, and I can highlight it and press the play button. So I'm just going to press play and be quiet.
As you know, there is a copy of the periodic table in your prep.
And as I press pause, you see that in yellow, the whole sentence has been highlighted, but as it reads each individual word, it highlights it in blue. And that is very good quality text to speech, because it's very engaging for the student. It draws their eye in, and it doesn't force them to read along as the computer reads it aloud, but it does encourage them to do so. So this was quite transformational in my family, having documents read aloud. And if you're not in a Chromebook, I find it quite hard to have Google Docs read aloud in an efficient way. That same functionality isn't only available within Google Docs. So now I'm going to go to a BBC Bite-sized webpage. And here we see that I also have the toolbar here, and I can move that toolbar to a more convenient place by just clicking the icon at the end. And here again, I can put my cursor wherever I want to hear it read and press the play button.
The battle was fought from sunrise to
pause and then stop. So let's have a quick look at the other features within the read&write toolbar that are really helpful when it comes to reading. So straight away, I'm going to say we have something called a picture dictionary, and my younger students really like this. So I'm going to say sunrise, and I'm going to ask for the picture dictionary. So there we go. But for older students, we can say, rather than a picture dictionary, use a regular dictionary. And if they don't want to read it out loud, because there's a lot of text there, and if you struggle with reading that's hard, then you can have it read.
Noun. This is when the sun first appears in the sky in the morning. He wakes up at sunrise.
So we see we not only have it read aloud, we have a picture dictionary, a regular dictionary, and the dictionary can also be read aloud. And to show you some more features that I think are really helpful when students are learning from the internet, I'm going to go into a slightly different page. And this isn't as exciting as the BBC one, it's just totally text. So again, I'm moving my toolbar. And if you're reading a lot of text like this without pictures, without headings, it can be really hard for some students. So that's where a screen mask is wonderful, but this helps students stay on track and concentrated. but there's a lot of control within the program about the colors you use and the size of the window. And click here to close it. Also, if you had a lot of information like this and you were going on a journey, you were car sick, you couldn't read, or if you're better at listening to learn, you could actually convert this information into an MP3 file that you could listen to. So instead of reading, you could listen to it. If text is within a picture, now here there isn't any text within a picture. I selected the BBC Bite Size webpage because it does have text within a picture, and if you see what I mean, there is the picture. It's got FELT and those words underneath, and because it's a picture, if I try to say the word, read the word fortune aloud, it cannot because it's in a picture. So the functionality you can use when text is hidden within pictures is here, and it's called Screenshot Reader. And the trick with Screenshot Reader is to just get in the letters or the words instead of any of the colors around it, because that confuses it. So here we see I now can select, and I'm just going to select the word leadership, and hopefully it will read it.
Leadership.
Yes. And you could do that with a large piece of work. It doesn't have to just be a single word. And at this moment in time, a lot of teachers don't understand how important it is to give students work they can read aloud. And so sometimes what's happening is they're just doing a scan and turning it into a Google Doc without converting it into something that can be read. And here's an example of that, and I'm just going to show you briefly how frustrating it is. And genuinely, I need to create some training for teachers to explain to them how a very small amount of effort on their part makes it really easy. So I'm going to use Screenshot Reader here for this information, and you'll see it is far from perfect.
The nucleus of a cell is responsive for openness beharan respestion, controlling ecactus and OE.
When it does work, it is extremely helpful, and there are some tips and tricks you can try if it doesn't work straight away, but that really is another video. So that completes all the functionality I wanted to show you that helps students when they need to read, be it reading Google Docs or reading the web page. Before they can go on and write work which is handed in and marked, they very often have to do some learning on their own, and I'm calling this research. So research to complete homework, and I'm now going to show you the functionality that's available when students are completing this research, and I'm just going to show it very quickly so you're aware that it exists. You'll notice on the toolbar we've got these 4 different highlights. And we've also got the facility to clear highlights, but also the ability to collect highlights. And this is a lot easier to show than explain. So when students are doing research on the internet before handing in a piece of work, they need to decide how they want to structure their work. They're going to look at many websites, they're going to look at information that the school have provided, and then they're going to make it their own. And what I often talk to students about is having a plan, and you could actually decide on a colour for each section or paragraph. So for example, I'm just going to pick random sentences, and I'll say I want all these to be in my yellow section, and I want this information to be in my green section. And obviously this could be on a really long website with lots and lots of information on, and then this could be the information I want in my pink section. And once I've gone through the website and I've collected all the information that is pertinent for the piece of work that I'm producing, I then select collect highlights, and I say which highlights I want to. I've only actually done 3, not 4, and then I'll say sort highlights by colour, and it has created a Google Doc, and instead of copying all the information that is on the website, it has only copied the information that we selected, and it has put them in order and also said where it came from. It's starting to build a bibliography for the student, which is really useful. The next functionality I want to show you is not available in Google Docs. So I'm going to go into my website in order to show it to you. And here we see it says simplify page. Now, I wouldn't bother using it on a page like this because that's about as simple as it can get. But sometimes web pages can get very busy with lots of information and maybe adverts in. And that makes it much harder to read, but it also is very distracting for some students. So I'm now, having been on this website, say simplify the page. And we see it's much clearer and cleaner. You have some other options as well. So we can say instead of having black on white, we could have white on black, or blue on yellow, or yellow on blue. I think I'm just going to go back to that one, but for some students that really helps both their attention and ability to read. We can then change the font, and I'm a big fan of Open Dyslexic. A lot of my students do far better when I use Open Dyslexic, and I think, there we go, there's Open Dyslexic, but we can pick lots of different fonts there. We can change the spacing, and we also have this new beta functionality, which I think is really nice. And so what that's doing is it's providing definitions of anything that it thinks will be helpful for the student. That completes everything I was going to show you with regard to research. We've looked at each of these. There are lots of other ways that you can highlight on a web page, but I've not seen any other ways that you can do collecting of highlights. And there are definitely other ways of changing fonts and simplifying the page, but this is all brought together here, and the definitions quite nice if students, most dyslexic students would never bother to look up a definition in a dictionary or even go onto a dictionary app. So if it's just as simple as clicking a mouse, then they're far more likely to do it. Finally, I'm going to look at the functionality that is available when you are writing. That's when you're producing the work that will hand in and be marked. And obviously, the functionality is different when we are writing to when we are reading. The first piece of writing functionality I want to show you is word prediction. And we use that by clicking here. And I've written word prediction is, and I'm now just going to put a space, and I want to say powerful, so I'm going to start to type that. So now it's giving me a few different options.
Powered, power, powerful, powerless, powerful.
That's the one I'm after. I don't want to continue word prediction, so I'm going to click here to switch it off. But if you cannot type quickly, that could be very useful. I personally think it is better for students to learn to touch type and produce work quickly rather than use word prediction, but that is a preference of mine. Something else, if students can't type, that is really helpful is what Read and Write call talk and type, or what Google itself just calls voice typing. And that is basically dictation functionality, and you get it by clicking this microphone. Before I do click the microphone, anything I say afterward will be turned into text. So I will now click the microphone. Dictation is very powerful for students who cannot type, full stop, new line. Dictation is much quicker than even the fastest touch typist, full stop, new line. It also spells everything correctly, but it is not foolproof and must be listened to or checked carefully before work is handed in. So on other packages I use, if I say new line, it will start with, it goes to a new line and it starts with a capital letter automatically. So that isn't something that's done here. I'm not saying it's at fault, it's just the dictation packages I'm used to would do that for me. But what I would always say is always listen to it back. So I didn't listen to this one, or haven't checked this, so let's have a look.
Also spelt everything correctly, but it is not foolproof. I must be listened to or checked carefully before work is handed in.
Even if a student dictates their work, it is really helpful to touch type because you can correct the inaccuracies much quicker if you can touch type. Now, I normally tell people not to become dependent on dictation. It's a skill that once you've learnt is fantastic, but if you can't use it in formal exams, then you could become reliant on it, which would put you at a disadvantage in formal exams if you couldn't dictate. So that completes all the functionality I was going to show you that can help students improve their written work. And of the functionality, I do think proofreading is the most important by far, because if you listen to your work and hear your mistakes and then correct them, you're going to hand in a better quality piece of work. Improved quality of work will result in improved grades, and that is what I'm trying to help you to do. And to this end, I am in the process of finalising an ebook, and it has checklists for both students and parents to improve teacher assessed grades. So I will put a link below to that ebook. And also I did talk about how to find this free trial. If you copy this link here, and I will put a link to the slides below, complete with all the links that you can just click on. If you click here, you'll see this option to download now, and that gives you a 30-day free trial. So that's where you will find this. It takes seconds to install. If you do and you want some more detailed training than what I've given you, because this isn't training, this is just making you aware of what it can do, Text Health have a fantastic training portal. And if you want to know how much it costs, I do try very hard not to talk about costs on videos, because videos are watched long after I might create them. But here we see at the moment it costs $99 for a yearly subscription for a student, but the premium version is always available free for teachers. That's really brilliant, because at this moment in time, if teachers have this free premium version, they can make all their Google Docs incredibly accessible for every student. If you do download the trial and you decide not to purchase, after the trial period, you can continue using the basic features, for example, text to speech. And here I've got what is available for free and what is available in the premium. And for some students, this is incredibly good value because they will use it a lot. But the fact you cannot spend a penny and get this brilliant text to speech functionality for free is really, really helpful. I think this is the best read aloud or text to speech functionality available over the internet. And it's great to think you can get it for free. So I really hope that you found this video helpful. If you have, please do give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone else who could benefit. Please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button, and then you'll be informed when I create new videos in the future. Thanks for watching.